If your team's communication feels like a never-ending game of Where's Waldo, updates lost in Slack, inboxes exploding, and meetings that frankly could have been emails, it's time for a serious upgrade. That's why in today's video, I'm breaking down 3 smart and sanity-saving solutions you can start using right now to keep your team aligned without the chaos. If you're ready to fix the way your agency talks before it breaks the way your agency grows, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and let's dive in. Let's talk about what's really slowing your team down. And it's not the work itself. It's the hunt for context. Status updates buried in Slack, feedback lost in email, projects paused while we check if the meeting's still on. It all adds up. Teams waste 60% of their time just trying to locate the who, what, and when. And if your team is rescheduling meetings more than they're solving problems in them, it's time to do better. And great news is I'm here to help. So in this video, I'm going to walk through how we can use our favorite project management tool, ClickUp, to really optimize your team communication. So the first shift is to move to async-first communication. So fewer meetings, more momentum, updates on your own time. And in case you need the definition of what async communication really means, it means that you don't need everyone online at the same time to get things done. Instead of hopping on a meeting or waiting for a Slack reply, you share updates in a task comment, a doc, or a quick video, and the other person can respond when it works for them. It's flexible, documented, and way less disruptive than the real-time back and forth all day. So here's why async works. You have fewer interruptions and more deep work. It absolutely increases your focus. It gives introverts and global teammates room to breathe. And now your team has clear expectations and less micromanaging. So let's dive into some clear and tangible examples of how you can accomplish async communication within ClickUp. So let's walk through 3 clear examples of async communication in ClickUp. So here we have the actual task that we are working on, this master content, right? In the task, every single master content task, we actually have one document that has all of the copy that our marketing team is working on. So we have them putting the long form blog, the email newsletter, the Instagram post, etc. So when I go in to review the copy, I only have to go in one place, add my comments, add anything, etc., and then we're good to go. So here you can see that Haisa did the first draft of this blog. This is the actual blog for this video that is going live, and you'll see that I added one comment in here. So I highlighted a specific thing and I was like, I love this data point. We should convert this into a thread. Maybe I have, feedback for like, hey, I don't love this part. Let's switch it and take this angle, etc. So then the team member will get this comment directly to their inbox, and I'm going to show you the inbox in a second, and then they'll be able to actually resolve the comment once they're like, great, thumbs up. We don't have to have a conversation about it. I can just put that comment in real time and we're good to go. So using ClickUp Docs is amazing. You can just highlight over, you can create a task, you can have AI improve it, but most importantly, communicating with the team, you can go ahead and comment right in the document, just like Google Docs, but even better because it's going into the ClickUp inbox. So that's using ClickUp Docs. The next one is using task comments. So say we're working on this specific Instagram post. We are adding the description to give the slide, the text, a visual prompt. We're adding the caption in here, the publish date where this is going live. And then the team is communicating about this back and forth inside the task itself. So you could see the team's communicating back and forth here. I'm not getting bogged down by these notifications because I am not tagged in them, right? So you can absolutely be added as a watcher on the task once you're like notified or automatically if you do want to be in the loop about specific things, or you don't have to be a watcher if something is going on behind the scenes and you're like, I don't need to be pinged anytime something is going back and forth. So I became a watcher on this task as soon as Nina tagged me and was like, I changed this to final review. I came in, I reviewed it. I actually commented directly on the slide itself. So you can actually add a comment, assign a person to it and be like, hey, change the color of this to blue, etc. And then I put it to, needs edits. It reassigned the designer. And then I was like, this is so cute. I made one comment, but other than that, I love it. So you can see how this is so much more efficient than talking about one post in an entire Slack thread and then constantly, going back and forth about that thing. I'm able to just comment. It gets assigned to me and it goes onto my schedule. As soon as I go, needs edits are ready to schedule, it reassigns the next person and puts a due date for the next day. And then last, we have the team meetings. So let's talk about agendas. So not only can you use docs for, doing things like copy and project scopes and things like that, but you can also use them for meeting agendas. And we love doing this. We have all of our meeting agendas in ClickUp, not only so they're in one place, but also because it's searchable. And I'll show you that hack in a second. So here you can add a document to a task. You can have a clear and concise meeting agenda. So you're not just writing in a blank document. You have different prompts here to be like, okay, what are the things that we have to go through in this agenda? So those are the core examples there. A couple other things I want to mention is, like I mentioned, because everything is living in ClickUp, tasks, comments, docs, etc., you can then search within the workspace. So if you click into the search bar here, you'll be able to just search for specific clients, posts, documents, etc. When you're like, hey, I need to review the scope for that person, or I want to, revisit the agenda from our weekly team meeting this week. You can just search, and not only does this search within your ClickUp, but it could also search within your connected tools as well, which is amazing. The other thing is all of these places where you're commenting back and forth are funneling into your one ClickUp inbox. So I check my ClickUp inbox at least twice a day, in the morning and the evening, just like I check my actual email inbox. And in here you can see these are all the things that I'm getting notified for, things that I'm a watcher on, right? So here were things where I was tagged in either for the first time or someone's adding an update about this thing. I can just click into the task. I can see the information. Okay, great. Click into here, and then I can add any comments back and forth, review the information, and we are good to go. So those are a couple tips, using this async-first communication. There's so many different ways that you can communicate within ClickUp. And then I actually just want to share a couple, bonus tips as well, which is ClickUp Chat is amazing. You can see that in here, you can actually create different channels just like Slack channels. So this can absolutely replace Slack. Caveat, I'll be totally honest, they still have a little bit of work to do. We haven't fully switched from Slack to ClickUp Chat yet because our communication, we communicate externally with clients via Slack Connect. And right now, ClickUp doesn't have that feature yet unless you add them to your ClickUp. So it's just really easy for us to do Slack Connect right now. But if all the things you're using for Slack is just for internal team communication, 100% you can move to ClickUp Chat, which is amazing. And then the last thing is ClickUp Clips. So we use Loom right now for our screen recording. So this video that I'm recording now, the tutorials that we record for our clients. But again, if you're just getting into screen recording, SOPs, etc., you can actually use ClickUp Clips. If you go into here and you see clips, you can record your screen and then it creates a public link and stores it in your clips. And that's the same thing. Doing that screen recording, it's native to ClickUp. So one less thing you have to pay for. It's amazing. So highly recommend checking out Chat, checking out Clips, along with the other tips that I mentioned in this tutorial. The second solution is deceptively simple. Keep communication where the work lives. Why is centralization going to work? There's going to be no more where's that file message or email. You have clear feedback loops in one place. You're going to definitely increase your onboarding pace, and you have one central source of truth. So it's kind of like turning your agency brain into a shared drive, but without the chaos. So let's go through how centralized communication looks in ClickUp. So I know we already dove into Docs a little bit, but I want to show you one more example of how we actually use this for client meetings as well. So for the client meetings, we store them all within that client folder or list. You can see we have multiple different pages with nested documentation. It's so easy to be able to find what we're looking for. And then you can see all the information. What was the purpose of this call? Who were the attendees? What were the key discussion points? Going through that, the action items and next steps, etc. From here, then you can always copy and add a task, like I mentioned before. So you can see create task. Here you can decide where to add this task and in what list. And it makes it super easy to be able to take this and add it right into your ClickUp because it already lives here. So we love just having this. And then again, like I mentioned, you can search within this as well. So not only being able to use documentation, obviously for taking notes for calls, but then this just continually feeds context to ClickUp when you are using ClickUp Brain. So I want to show you this as well of how when you come into ClickUp Brain, you can now ask for specific project context. So I'm going to say, give me an update on what was accomplished in the LD project list in the last 7 days. I'm going to go ahead, it's going to think, and then it's going to give you an amazing project overview. So meeting agenda was set, technical authentication, checkpoints, no tasks were completed or moved out of to do this week. So all work is still actively in planning or prep stages, etc. And so it's going to give you that pulse check like it is a project manager. I'm obsessed with ClickUp Brain. It's so cool. So many things you can do with it. So one last thing you can also do with ClickUp Brain is, let's say I have these slides, right? So say I am working on this video. Let me actually pull up the task for this video. Okay, so now I have this ClickUp task for the video in our YouTube list, and at the bottom, I have the 147 YouTube slides. So if I go to ClickUp Brain and I say, give me the slides for YouTube video 147, you can also use this as like an executive assistant. And it's just going to, instead of having to click and search and pull those things up. So when I actually did this prompt, it actually gave me an outline for YouTube slides for this video, which is really cool. So then I was like, no, actually give me the PDF of these slides. And then it gave me the link here so I can go in and grab it. So a cool use case that we did for our marketing agency client the other day was they have one client playbook for every single client that goes through their guidelines, their branding, everything about them, their services, etc. And we added their branding guide PDF to that playbook. So then they were just able to be like, hey, give me the branding guideline for Dissolve Life. And then it actually spit out the PDF link here. So they were just able to click it and pull it up instead of having to search for the client, search for their playbook, and then dig through the document. So definitely utilize ClickUp Brain if you have not already, because you're going to be moving all your communication to ClickUp, your documentation. I have good faith in you. This is going to make ClickUp Brain that much more powerful. And last but certainly not least, the third ClickUp solution is automating your status updates. You want to let ClickUp do the heavy lifting and checking in for you. Here is why it matters. You're going to have real-time visibility, no needing to pull reports or wait for that person to give you that status update. It's going to reduce micromanaging because the managers will just be able to access a dashboard and get a pulse check without asking the actual team member. And lastly, you're going to have more trust and less stress when it comes to being a manager. Win-win, if you ask me. So let's dive into how you can automate check-ins and see dashboards dashboards for real-time project and KPI visibility. So last but certainly not least, we move on to automated check-ins. So there are a few different things that we can do here, really so many different things, but I'm just going to go through a few core examples. So what you could do is instead of, the project manager or team members having to remember, every Friday I have to do my client check-ins and review how these specific things are going with this project or this client, you can have things like recurring tasks or subtasks that say it's on the client database. You have a subtask for the project manager every week that recurs to complete the weekly check-in. So they'll get this on their calendar. It's not going to slip through the cracks. They're not going to forget. And then it could be something as simple as just them adding a comment on that client. What was the overall client sentiment this week? Were any deadlines missed? Did we deliver something of clear value? And what's great about this is, like I mentioned with watchers, you can decide who's a watcher on this task. So do just I want to be notified? Do me and Jeff want to be notified of anything happening with this client? You can decide, is this something that you automatically want whenever a new client is created? Me, Jeff, and so are going to be watchers on this task. So then every time Andrea drops that project update, we get it right into our magical inbox. You'll also see in here, there was also an automated email sent to the client. So you can even check in with the client or team members by sending emails automatically through ClickUp, saving you so much time. So that's example number 1. You can also create automations that are letting team members know one day before a due date that something is due, or managers that one day after the due date that something is overdue. So let me show you. If I come to the space level, I can show you an example of creating that automation. If I come into automations and go to manage, so now I'm going to add an automation. I'm going to name this daily due date check 1 day until due date. And then here I'm going to say, okay, on the task or subtask, I want to say if the date is 1 day before the due date, then I want to add a comment for the team member to say, at assignee, this task is due in 1 day. You can add emojis, you can add photos, GIFs, whatever you want there, but this is going to allow the team members to be like, okay, I have a deadline coming up tomorrow. You can also have it notify you, like I mentioned, if the due date is overdue. So here I'm going to add an automation. I'm going to say daily due date check and say 1 day overdue. And so here I'm going to say the date is 1 day after the due date. And what you'd want to do here is the caveat is you would say the status is not complete. So here you can see, here are the published or completed statuses. So then what you can do is you can add a comment and say at watchers, this task is overdue. Please update the comment section with a status report. So this is going to notify anyone that's a watcher on this task, the assignee, the project manager, anyone else that, hey, this task is overdue. Please update the comment section. And the project manager doesn't have to go through every single overdue task and write this comment themselves. This is just going to save them time and energy, and they'll be notified directly to their inbox. And then lastly, let's talk about dashboards and reporting. So one of my favorite features of ClickUp is not only its robust capabilities to do task and project management, but also their data reporting. So in dashboards, you can create dashboards to pull in all different information. You can even start with templates here that ClickUp has created for you. But let me show you the example of a COO or manager dashboard. In a dashboard like this is pulling in all the information from ClickUp. So you're able to see, okay, who has how many tasks assigned to them? What tasks are overdue? Let me take a pulse check on these specific client projects or active campaigns and initiatives we're working on. Maybe you want some KPI metrics of how marketing materials are performing. Maybe you want to see how long things are stuck in statuses. So why are so many things stuck in to do for 100 days? We want to make sure we're taking action on those. Who's behind? You can see who has an unread inbox notifications or total overdue tasks. So having dashboards and adding cards to pull in this information, you're then able to get a pulse check on projects, on overdue tasks, on team members without having to drill into that individual project. You can absolutely have individual project dashboards as well if you just want to hone in on reporting and KPIs for that one project. But having master dashboards like this give you the pulse check on your entire company or agency. So they're so helpful. They're automated every single day. You can come into here. It's going to update in real time. You don't have to go asking the team members for a progress report or if anything's overdue. And you don't have to wait for things to go into overdue as well. You can see what's coming up in the next day and be able to just check in with them if there's an urgent deadline and something is not in progress or completed yet. So that is the last piece that I wanted to go through in terms of automated updates. So you now see why when you simplify communication, you will amplify results. It's time to build a team that runs on clarity, not constant check-ins. Because your team doesn't need more words. It really just needs more clarity. With the right system, communication can be effortless and execution becomes unstoppable. So let's start building it today. Meetings you don't need, emails nobody reads, updates lost in a sea of Slack emojis. Sound familiar? Well, it doesn't have to be your normal. With the right systems in place, communication can be simple, organized, and actually helpful. So if you're ready to clean up the chaos, well, we are here to help. We have an array of different resources and how we can support you. Number one is our team management ClickUp template bundle. So many of the things that I showed you in today's video are in this bundle, and it's a plug and play solution. You can have it downloaded into your ClickUp with the click of a button. Or if you don't have the time or resources to DIY, totally get it. That's why we have custom solutions where we can actually integrate into your team and help you build these out together. Feel free to book a call at the link in the description or check out some of our templates and courses. Whichever path you choose, your future self and your inbox will thank you. And one last thing, if you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss out on any other scaling and systems tips and tricks. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.